All right, this is where things get real because up to this point, we've been talking about a timeline, dates, events, and finally, what began in 1844. But now we need to ask a different question. Not what is it, but why does it matter? Because if what we just talked about is true, then something is happening right now, not in the past, not in theory, right now. The Bible describes it as a judgment, and I know that word can feel heavy, maybe even uncomfortable, because when we hear judgment, we usually think fear, punishment, being exposed. But what if that's not the full picture? What if this judgment isn't about catching people off guard? What if it's about bringing clarity? Because think about it. If there's been a long conflict between good and evil, wouldn't there come a point where everything is made clear, where truth is fully revealed, where every choice is seen for what it really is? That's what this is about. Not random decisions, not unfair outcomes, but a moment where everything is brought into the light. And here's what changed things for me. The Bible says everyone's life comes into review, not to confuse, not to trap, but to confirm, to show what we've actually chosen. Because at the end of the day, God doesn't force anyone, He honors choice. So this judgment isn't about deciding randomly, it's about revealing clearly. And that makes it different because now it's not about fear, it's about honesty. And that leads to a bigger question. If something like this is happening, what does that mean for how we're living? Not in a pressured way, but in a real way. Because it's easy to think I'll deal with that later. But what if later isn't the point? What if the point is now? And I'm not saying this to create pressure. I'm saying it because this is where everything becomes personal. Because if this is real, then your life matters more than you think. Your choices matter. Your direction matters, not in a small way, but in a meaningful way. And here's the part that often gets missed. This isn't just about judgment. It's about restoration because the goal isn't just to point out what's wrong, it's to make things right, to bring things back into alignment, to restore what was broken. And that includes people. So now the question isn't just, is this happening? It's where do I stand in it? And I know that's a deeper question, but it's an honest one. Because if everything we've seen so far is accurate, then this isn't something to ignore, it's something to understand and maybe even respond to. So, in the next episode, we're going to talk about something most people overlook, the role of choice in all of this. Because at the center of everything is one simple but powerful reality: you get to choose, and that changes everything. So, before you go, think about this. If your life tells a story, what story is it telling? Follow the podcast and let's keep going.